graph the equation y equals log base 4 of x. We're not familiar with that, are we? Never seen something like this.
You're right.
So could we maybe change it to be something that we are more familiar with? Yeah, so we want to change this to exponential form. So my base is 4. What's my exponent? Base is 4, exponent. We're looking here, we're changing this from log form to exponential form. We're just using the 4, the x, and the y. What's the exponent? Y is my exponent, and then x is what it's equal to. Remember, base, exponent, and then the answer. So we're going to take this equation and use that to graph it. So if we have this should be an x-intercept. Sorry, I copied it from the other stuff. It says x-intercept on your paper. So if we are graphing an x-intercept this time, an x-intercept has a y value of something that crosses the x-axis has a y value of 0. So we're going to have a point, and that y value of that point is 0. So now we're going to take that 0, and we're going to put it into this equation here. So 4 to the 0 is equal to x. Well, what's 4 to the 0? 1. So this would be 1, 0, because that's our x value. Okay, so now our helping point, what might be an easy number to put in there? 1. So we're going to do 4 to the 1 equals x. So x is 4. So what would the point be? It's a little tricky. 4, 1, because my x value is 4 and my y value is 1. Does that make sense? I'm going to think a little bit about that. So now I have a 1, 0, 4, 1. And so if I now put a 2 in there, I get 16. So my graph is going to go like this. It's going to go in this direction, and it's going to slowly get higher, but not quickly, very slowly get higher. So this looks different than the exponential function. Let me draw that graph a little better. This is a little sloppy. I haven't done the asymptote yet. So what we want to do is, if now we get some x values that are or y values that are negative, will I ever get to 0? If my y values are negative, will I ever get to 0? I won't, will I? So my asymptote on this one is going to be this line right here, which is what? What's the equation of that line?
0, 0.
It's a line. X equals 0. So my asymptote for the log function is x equals 0, whereas for the exponential function it was y equals 0. Unless we had some movement. Okay, so that means that I'm going to get closer and closer to this line here, but never touch it. Is it okay if I go past the line when I draw that? This arrow, can I draw it past the line?
No.
No. So we want to get close to it. We do not want to go past it. Oh, that's what I'll be looking at when you're doing your graphs today. And say you're taking a text. I'll be looking to make sure you don't go past that line. So what would, what's my domain? X is greater than 0, yeah. Or 0 less than x less than infinity. So you can write that as x is greater than 0 or 0 less than x is less than infinity. I don't care which. So now somebody besides Derek what would the range be? Let's see, somebody from this group back here. What was my range?
Negative infinity is less than or equal to y.
Yes. And?
Less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to, or just less than? Just less than. Just because it's infinity, does that make sense? I know it's going to fit. Yeah. So between negative infinity and true infinity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to do another one. Number 2. What's your first step on number 2? This group here. What's my first step?
That's me.
This group. Yeah.
What are we looking for?
On number 2, what's my first step to graph it?
So we gotta put a 4 or the side of 6. 6 and then the y, 6 to the power of y.
Good.
And then after this, we need to come up with x.
Good. So he changed it to exponential forms. That's your first step in these, changing them to exponential forms. So my y-intercept will, excuse me, you have it as an x on your paper, and that's what it needs to be. Your x-intercept will have a y value of 0. I'm going to put 0 in place of my y. And then what will my x be? Yep, 1. So it's 1, 0. So a helping point. Let's do the 1 again. And we get x equals 6. So 6, 1 would be my helping point. So 1, 0. 6, 1. I know that if I put a 2 there, I'm going to get a 36. So this is going to be a graph that goes like this. Takes a long time. It starts getting bigger and bigger. It takes a long time though to get higher. So what will my asymptote be? Anybody back here? Any idea what the asymptote will be? So say y is a negative number. Say it's a negative 1. What do we get for 6 to the negative 1?
Negative 6.
6 to the negative 1, what's that? I'll give you a hint, it's a fraction.
Oh, you get 1/6.
Let's move back here. 6 to the negative 1 would be 1/6. So what about 6 to the negative 2? What about 6 to the negative 2? 6 to the negative 1 is 1/6. 6 to the negative 2? 1 over 36. Will we ever get to 0 if we keep getting smaller and smaller with our, no. So our asymptote then is going to be this line here, which has what equation? Let's go back here. What's the equation of that line, that asymptote? Good, x equals 0. So my domain here. Yep, 0 is less than x, less than infinity, and then what about my range? Yep. Yep. So let me draw a graph for you of, I'm going to do it in blue, of y equals 6 to the x. So here's your graph of y equals 6 to the x. We don't have to graph that, but I just wanted to do that to make a point. What do I notice about these two graphs? What happens with the x's and the y's? They switch. What's that called when the x and the y switches? Starts with an I. They're called inverses of each other. Good. So let me draw this dotted line here. So notice they are reflections over that line. Okay, so just a reminder for you there. Okay, 3 gets a little harder. What's my first step on number 3? This group here. What's my first step? Good. 2 to the y equals? Good. So now we want to find an x-intercept. So we put what value in for y? 0. So we have 2 to the 0 equals x plus 3. 2 to the 0 is what? 1. So what do we do to find out what x is? Yes, we would subtract 3 and we get x equals -2. So what is this group again? What would my point be for the helping point that I just found? So this here, this equation here helps me find it.
Perhaps going to sorry. I can look sad sometimes.
-2.
Thank you. What's the point? Sorry, I didn't start the helping point yet, so sorry about that. So 2 to the 1 equals x plus 3, and so what would that point be? -1 is your x value, and what's your y value? 1, that's right, -1, 1. Does that make sense? Geronimo and Sophia, does that make sense? I know we switch. I know that's a little tricky. So now, asymptote. Let's go ahead and graph these 2 points. -2, 0, -1, 1. And my asymptote on this one I know my graph is going to get flat like that, again, just like the last ones. So my asymptote on the last one was x equals 0. What does this plus 3 do to the graph? It moves it what direction? Left 3. So what will my asymptote be? X equals -3. So we know that our asymptote on the last one was x equals 0. So without the plus 3 there, it would be x equals 0, but the plus 3 moves it left 3. So it's a -3, x equals -3. So we're going to draw a dotted line. I want to see you drawing your dotted line. This helps you draw your graph. That's the biggest part of what you're doing. So we are going close to this line, but never quite crossing it. Technically, it doesn't touch it, but when we draw it as if it touches it. Okay, go ahead and do the number 4 as you try, and you're out.
Well, it's not about the domain and range.
Oh, thank you. Come back and do that.
What'd you say?
So what's the domain on this one?
I don't know.
So your x values.
Oh, like less than 3? Or greater than -3?
So the x values, yes, good.
Actually, right.
X is greater than -3, and then what about your domain or your range on this one?
I think Cohen knows. Cohen knows.
I'm not out.
So see this arrow here? It goes up towards, slowly, but it goes up towards infinity. What about this arrow here? It goes down towards -infinity. So we have -infinity to infinity. So go ahead and do number 4 as your U try.
Sorry, I get very comfortable. How do you do it? You mind? I'm trying to learn, and I feel like we're doing the most.
So huge leader.
Usually,
So is this guy.
depends big difference. What does that mean?
It means exactly what you think it means.
Oh, I understand. Alright, anyway. Here we go. Here we go.
I don't know what that means, but just
Start us.
somebody just.
To the ball. I call ball for something.
I think the easy ballfish. Ballfish? Love fish. I only have a funny.
Some of you are ready to start the assignment.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and pass out the worksheet. I'll do this problem up here.
Oh,
Because this was a form. I must like, you know, mom.
Is your mom right here? Is that over there? Go man up right there. Just like this all, you over Google. Is that all over Google?
I don't know it. You got $13 back tomorrow? You got $13 back tomorrow?